Yeah, it was published on the 15th of April this year from American Science. And it said, new studies have found that monkeys and apes have a sense of morality and a rudimentary ability to tell right from wrong. In a series of studies, scientists have found that monkeys and apes can make judgments about fairness, offer altruistic help, and empathise with fellow animals who are ill or in difficulties. They appear to even be conscious and have the ability to remember obligations. So I would argue that it is fairly obvious that...
It's obvious to me that monkeys and humans have the same designer, a similar blueprint. Where does this morality, how does it evolve as a parasitic rudimentary that can out?
The Precambrian...
Yeah, how does the morality evolve?
Well, tigers and humans apparently also have the same creator, and yet they have entirely different senses of morality.
So we had no morals before Jesus and the Bible came.
Well, although the monkeys...
Apes and monkeys do have a base morality then, because apes go around and gang bash other apes.
Yeah, and humans go around and gang bash other humans.
Yeah, but that's wrong. But if you're going to say that, like, you know, we've got morals and they do too, and therefore hence we could possibly evolve.
No, I'm saying that what we have in common with monkeys, other than a very close biological kinship, is that we are group animals. And therefore, it's Haldane's argument of group selection, that groups in which members had obligations and were bound together by kin associations were more likely to survive, and therefore have more offspring, and thus the ability grew and developed. But the question also doesn't arise, because if you're saying, who am I to judge God's morality, or where did this morality come from? The book of Genesis says that we are fallen because we ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And even God says we must reject them lest they eat of the tree of life and live forever and become as one of us. So even according to the Bible, I am every bit as moral as God and am in a position to judge him.
Here we go. In the blue? Yeah. Right.
How old do you think the Earth is?
I have no idea. I can't find a label on it. I have no idea.
Yeah, and the beanie was first. Yeah.
Can you explain to me why, what was so wrong with the Old Testament, and why did we have to make a New Testament that was a lot more loving and caring? And also, when you die, is that the only time God, as your religion, gets interesting? Is when we die, is it? Is that when we actually find out that you were
first
wrong?
question first.
So, thank you.
The God of the Old Testament is no different from the God of the New Testament. The God of the New Testament will make your hair stand on end or the back of your neck if you read what he does in the book of Revelation, and how he killed a husband and wife in the New Testament, how Jesus said, fear not him who has power to kill your body, and afterwards can do no more, but fear him who has power to kill your body and cast your soul into hell. Fear him. God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament are one and the same. But the Old Testament is God's promise that he would destroy man's greatest enemy, death. The New Testament tells us how he did it. That's as simple as that. I couldn't put it more simply.
So they're actually different books themselves. They're actually not a continuation. So what I took from it is just a lot more loving and nicer. The second, a lot more
no, the Old Testament is full of the love of God.
A lot more.
God told the Jews to love their enemies.
Really?
Yes, you read it. See, just one moment. You know, Sam mentioned something before, and this is a mistake made by so many people. There are 613 precepts in God's law. 613 precepts. Those 613 are broken up into 3 areas of law: civil law, ceremonial law, and moral law. The moral law is the 10 Commandments. The civil law is God's ordinances to Israel on how to carry out justice. The ceremonial law is packed full of things like don't wear cotton and wool mixed together, because that'll make you sweat. And sweat is typical of the curse that God laid upon humanity in the book of Genesis. So there's a lot of things you don't understand when you say, oh, God tells us we're not to do this and not to eat this, and shellfish crawl the bottom of the ocean eating trash. And God just says, don't eat certain types of food. And God gives health laws to Israel. So there are things that people mock at, and they mock at them just because they don't understand them. Yeah, sure.
Firstly, in Judaic tradition, the 10 Commandments, or the Decalogue, are held to be of no higher value than any of the other 613 books. And yes, you're right, they are split up into 3 groups. But the Ten Commandments is not the whole of the morality section. There are other moral pearls of wisdom. For example, if you take a new wife and you find on your wedding night that she isn't a virgin, you are commanded to take her to the doorstep of her father's house and bash her brains in with a stone. This isn't a suggestion. This isn't a legal punishment. This is a commandment. If you fail to do it, you are sinning. As much as if you murder another Jew or lust after somebody's wife or... I'm trying to think of a really stupid commandment. The Sabbath.
The guy behind the guy in the beanie was next.
You said something about right, by the way. You said something about other religions being work to righteousness.
Yes.
How are you involved?
Works righteousness religions.
Yeah, that's right. And you said how that sort of provides a missing incentive to Allah or
The Creator.
okay, cool. But with the whole concept of keeping it house, it's the same sort of thing, like believe in God, and if you don't, you go to the
Oh, no, you don't go to hell for not believing in God. Why would anyone say that? God doesn't want your belief in his existence. He wants your obedience. There's a huge... I believe...
If anyone believes in God, he rules hell.
I believe in God before I was a Christian.
Hey, the guy behind here, and behind the beanie, thank you.
The Christians of sense are like, it's obedience not granted by probably not obedience not being granted by many because of their morality and their conscience, but because crap, I don't want to go to hell, I want to go to heaven, so you're right, God, amen.
Need to sign up for it.
Emma, go for it.
Just with regards to evolution and fossils going from one species to another, I mean, so much of the earth has been dug up looking for this fossil, it's still missing. What's your explanation of that? Is there something still needs to be found, or do you think there's enough evidence out there?
Okay, well, I would ask you a counter question. How many complete transitional fossil forms would there need to be in order for you to accept that there actually are transitional fossils? Would one sequence do?
That would be a start, yeah.
We have actually, over the last 20 years, uncovered a complete sequence in the evolution of the dinosaur, for the evolution of the whale. There are 20 different species. The middle one is called Ambulocetus natans, which interestingly means the walking whale that swims. And it is so detailed that we can actually track what is called the dorsal migration of the nostrils, which means the way the nostrils have moved back towards the back. And Ambulocetus natans has his blowhole on the top of his head.
Well, Ravens are much bigger than those than I am, but he's still a man and I'm still a man, regardless of our nose position.
Well, no, nose position isn't the same as nose size. No. If you had a nose where your nipples should be...
size.
Actually, I'm not willing to accept one transitional series. There should be thousands of them out there.
But this is the problem.
It is a problem.
No, the problem is... The problem is that Ray's side has changed the word transitional fossil to fit their meaning. And on this little card that you may have found on your seat, it says he will give you $10,000 if you can provide one living transitional form. Now, you can't provide a living transitional form because a transitional form is something that is something and is becoming something else. We don't know what things that are alive today are becoming. Everything alive today is a transitional form.